Welcome back. Today's video is going to be a tag video. I am very excited. This is the eyeshadow palette wardrobe tag. I love palette tags in general, and I feel like I always want to do them if there is a new one out. This one was created by Morgan Turner and Charlotte Holdcroft. I will link them in the description box. A lot of people have been doing this tag, and I definitely wanted to join in because I love eyeshadow palettes. It's definitely my favorite makeup item of all time, for sure. I love eyeshadow. I will also list the questions down below if you want to answer them yourselves. And yeah, let's just get started. These questions are based on different occasions and which palette you would pick for those occasions. So I thought that was a lot of fun. The first question is for a wedding guest makeup look. And I went with this Makeup Geek palette. This is the In the Nude. I'm pretty sure that I have worn this to a wedding. I think I wore this to my cousin's wedding a couple years ago. And I just really love the Makeup Geek formula. And you do have these two foiled shades, which are more metallic, which is definitely what I would want to wear on the lid, but they're not too out there. I don't think I probably would wear something super colorful as a wedding guest. So I'd want it to be glamorous, probably smoke it out with this color here. I would want that foiled look, but I wouldn't want it to be too colorful. So I thought this was the absolute perfect palette for that. Plus, I know I love the Makeup Geek formula. These blend very, very well, so I wouldn't want to have any issues with that. Question 2 is a date night. And yes, I admit that this year, as far as date nights, my husband and I haven't really gone anywhere. We've just stayed home, and then I'm not wearing makeup, on a Saturday night on my couch. But last year, I do feel like I wore this palette a lot when we did just kind of go out to dinner and stuff like that. The Anastasia Norvina palette, I really love this palette. And I feel like this is good for that because I definitely can make this pretty glam and somewhat colorful, but it's not like, an out there rainbow palette. So yeah, this is just one of my favorite palettes. And I definitely feel like I did wear this on a lot of date nights last year. Question 3 is a girls' night. And I admit this question makes me kind of sad because my best friend did move to another state last year. So I haven't had a lot of girls' nights, which is kind of sad. But I guess if I did, I would wear the Zulu palette by Juvia's. I would want to do something super colorful. I wear colorful looks quite a bit, except not to work, but just in general. If I was just going out to dinner. I love colorful eyeshadow, so it's something that I do wear often. And yeah, I thought this would be really, really fun. This is one of my favorite colorful eyeshadow palettes. The formula on these eyeshadows is absolutely fantastic. One of the best formulated rainbow palettes that I've ever tried personally. And I just really love the quality of these shadows. And yeah, there's a lot of fun looks that I can do with this palette. Number 4 is for a vacation. And actually this was very easy for me to answer this. And that is the Tarte Toasted palette because I have brought this on a lot of different trips. I like it for traveling because, it's pretty neutral. On most vacations, I don't do a ton of makeup, maybe a little bit for going out to dinner. I guess kind of depends on, what I'm doing on that vacation, but usually makeup is not a big focus for me. And so yeah, I can do some basic neutral looks. And this palette does kind of have everything that I need because it does have a matte brow bone highlight, which I like to use on an everyday basis, and has some shimmers, has some darker shades for smoking out the look. And it does have a really good mirror and it stands up like this. So it's very easy to just set down on a desk, in a hotel room. And then I just do my makeup using this mirror. And also it's small. I'm not going to bring something massive, like a Morphe palette on vacation because I don't want to take up a lot of room in my bag. Because like I said, most vacations I go on, I'm really not that focused on my makeup anyway, especially if I'm doing a lot of sightseeing and stuff like that, get sweaty. So makeup is not, a major part of most trips for me, but this palette, it's been to multiple countries. It's been to India and I don't even remember where else, but actually, yeah, I think Jamaica as well. So I've traveled with this a lot. It's just very convenient for that. Number 5 is for graduation. And this question kind of made me nostalgic and I went with the Naked Reloaded. And the reason that I picked this is that on my last graduation that I experienced, I did wear my original Naked palette. So this was many years ago. I wore the Naked palette. And so I thought I would go with this because I feel like, yeah, for a graduation, I would want something nice, somewhat glamorous, but nothing too out there. You know, it's kind of like a family occasion type thing. So I wouldn't want to do a rainbow eye, even though, well, maybe I would want to, but I would want to tone it down. So yeah, I thought this was a perfect palette for that. I really love this. This is one of my favorite neutral eyeshadow palettes. I kind of miss my original Naked palette. I got rid of it a while ago. I bought it when it first launched, so it eventually kind of deteriorated in quality. The shades were getting crumbly and dried up, and so I did eventually get rid of that, but I kind of wish I had purchased it before it had been discontinued. To be honest, I kind of didn't really believe them. They were really going to discontinue it, but they did, and it's no longer available. So I kind of regret it. I don't need it though. I know that I don't need it. And this definitely has some similar shades. And I do actually think the quality on this one, I prefer this over that original Naked palette. But I guess the only shade I really miss is Sin. And I'm pretty sure that they do sell Sin in a single eyeshadow. So I could technically buy it, but yes, I feel like this would be perfect for a graduation. The next question is Christmas Day, and I just went with the palette that I did wear last year on Christmas Day, and that is the Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership 2, I think. I can never remember, but yes, this is the palette that I wore, and I did wear this green shade. It is a very Christmassy type green. So yeah, I wore that all over the lid, and then I wore this in the outer corner. And yes, I really love this palette. I actually haven't used this in a few months. I should use this coming up here soon, because this is amazing and very expensive. I did get it as a Christmas gift last year, but yes, I really do like it. I want to get more of these large Mothership palettes. I like the Pat McGrath formula. I don't think it's my #1 formula, but it is definitely in my top 3 or 4. This palette is amazing, and that green eyeshadow is beautiful, and I've actually done a tutorial with that on my channel. Question 7 is a birthday party. And this is hard to say. I mean, I don't know if it would be my birthday party or someone else's, but I went with the palette that I'm actually wearing today. This is the BH Royal Affair, because I do feel like you can do some pretty fun, dramatic looks with this palette. On first glance, it looks very basic and neutral, but the more I use this palette, the more I love it. This is one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes. And so today I'm wearing this shade and this shade kind of all over in the crease, and then the silver in the center. And yeah, there's just so many fun looks I can do with this palette. I can make it very dramatic. The metallics are very foiled and metallic. The silver, as you can see, it's pretty intense. And yeah, I love this palette. I think it is a whole lot of fun, and I really love the BH Cosmetics formula. I did finally buy 2 more BH Cosmetics palettes. I hadn't purchased any for a very long time. I got the Barcelona palette and the Avocado Toast palette, and I've only used the avocado one so far, and it is so good. BH Cosmetics has such an amazing formula at a crazy good price. I really think the more I think about it, I'm really enjoying their formula. It's probably in my top 3 now that I've tried those 2 newer palettes. They are just as good as this one and the Weekend Festival and the Sylvia Ghani, which those were a bit older palettes. I really hadn't not bought a BH palette for about a year, and yeah, those are great. This one's amazing. I wish they would make this one permanent though, because I do think this may be my favorite out of all my BH palettes. I just think there's so many looks I can do with this one, and yeah, it's fantastic. Alrighty, question 8 is The Office. And I mean, yeah, I wear neutral makeup to work. I mean, it's not that exciting. I could have picked any palette for this because, you know, I have quite a few neutral palettes. I did decide to go with the Milani Bold Obsessions. I really do like this one. I mean, you can get more dramatic looks out of this palette, and I have done that. Particularly these 2 shades are pretty foiled, especially if I use a wet brush. But I mean, yeah, you can do some pretty basic looks with this. Nice and neutral. This is a great quality palette. I really do like it. And this is also one that I don't know why Milani is getting rid of this one in the Soft and Sultry. They've been on sale on their website for a while, but they stopped selling them in most stores, and a lot of you guys told me you've seen them at TJ Maxx. This formula is so good, and I did buy one of their newer palettes a couple months ago. I talked about that in a declutter video because it was not good at all, but this is amazing. So I don't know why they had to make that change up, but yes, the Bold Obsessions It's a very good kind of everyday neutral palette, but you can also make this one more bold as well. Alrighty, number 9 is Errands or everyday go-to palette. And honestly, if I was just like going only to the post office, I wouldn't put on makeup just for that. But if I was already wearing makeup, you know, then I would just wear what I was wearing. But I decided to make this a hypothetical situation, and I went with the Natasha Denona Mini Nude because I do feel like this is a really easy palette to just kind of grab and slap on a very simple neutral look. Put this in the crease, outer corner, and then any of these on the lid, and you're done. So I thought this would be good for that. I have hit pan on this shadow. I really, really do like it. I like this Natasha Denona mini palette, but I will say now that I've tried more of her bigger palettes, I actually do think that the bigger palettes are a bit higher quality than this one is. This is still good, but yeah, it's not quite as amazing as her larger palettes as far as the formula goes. But these colors are great, very simple, everyday, but these also too. Yeah, if you use a wet brush with these, they are quite foiled as well. Alrighty, and number 10 is New Year's, and I'm picking a palette that a lot of people picked. I watched so many people do this tag, and quite a few people did say the Sultry palette, or actually a few people also said this for a wedding as well, which I think it would be good for both. Yeah, I mean, New Year's, I think of sparkle and very smoky type looks. Therefore, this would be a good palette for that. The metallics in here do have a lot of shimmers in them, so they really are very sparkly eyeshadows. They are quite beautiful. I really do love this palette. This is, again, one, why ABH got rid of this palette, I don't know. I mean, this is one of the best products they've ever released, in my opinion. I don't know why they made this limited edition. They should really bring it back. Hopefully they do. They made that mini soft glam. Maybe they would do a mini sultry. That would be smart, or they should just bring back sultry because this is such a good palette. So yeah, a lot of sparkly shades. You do have this pretty intense silver. You have a black, you know, a gray. You can definitely make this more cool toned, or you can keep it kind of right in the middle at neutral with this palette. And yes, this is amazing. You can, I mean, I can tone this palette down for an everyday look also, but definitely can make it dramatic for something like New Year's. That is it for the eyeshadow palette wardrobe tag. This was a lot of fun. Like I said, I love eyeshadow tags. They are definitely my favorite type of tags. I will link the creators in the description box, and I'll also leave the questions in case you guys want to answer them. That is it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.